All right, CC, do you think AB and the Pats work out?
Yep, it's going to work out. It's going to work out. It's going to be amazing how much common sense he's going to get in that flight from Oakland to when he arrives at Foxborough and goes inside their facility. He's going to make a bunch of phone calls. He knows some guys on the team. Philip Dorsett grew up in South Florida. AB's been one of his heroes. They've worked out together. He's got some other people he's familiar with on the team, but it's remarkable, and I've seen it year after year when Belichick is there. The craziest guys, what happens to them? They go there and they straighten up. Corey Dillon, you wouldn't believe the stories coming out of the Cincinnati Bengals locker room about Corey Dillon. He was typically on the milk carton as one of the worst people in the NFL. Oh, he goes there. Albert Haynesworth. Now, it didn't work out.
No.
Because it worked out like this. He didn't do what we told him to do. We got rid of him.
Well, that's the thing. Right?
Randy Moss. On day one, Randy ain't have no type of problems with Bill Belichick. He loves the football laboratory. He loves learning football. So I knew Randy would thrive there. But Ocho Cinco, people thought he'd thrive there, but the football X's and O's got in the way of him not being able to learn, not being able to play a variety of positions. But I'm just going to tell you, I learned this when I lived in Minnesota for a long time. I was going over some people's houses, and my wife at the time told me, you got to take your shoes off when you get there. I was like, I'm not taking my shoes off. I spent a lot of money for these shoes. My shoes are clean. Yep, when you get there, you know what happens? You get to the door, it's the moment of truth. Do you want to come in or don't you? Do you want to play football? Because it's not a matter of, I got my own life. No, you don't have no life. It is the Patriot Way 24/7, and if you don't, they will get rid of you. It's only money. It's only money. They ain't spend no draft pick for you, so they ain't got no tolerance for you. You got one strike, and he going to be out. And Belichick's going to let him know that, and AB is not going to have a problem. Watch how it works.
Well, okay, so I want to make sure I understand what you're saying. You're saying it won't be a problem because if he is a problem, he'll just immediately be gone, or it won't be a problem because he won't have a problem?
No, AB's going to have common sense this year. He's going to be there for 1 year.
Okay, well...
Yeah, that's exactly what I said.
All right, if that's the case, then what Antonio Brown did over the last 10 to 15 days is premeditated for this exact result. Because he appeared to be someone...
No, I don't think it was premeditated. And the reason why is because there were a number of teams that had a great deal of interest in there. He was trying to make it work in Oakland until he realized they fined him. When they fined him, that became a different ball game because then his guarantees were in jeopardy. Now, what happened after that? There was a lot of premeditation. But before that, no. He was trying to work everything out in Oakland and get that $30 million guaranteed.
Okay, but then what he did, them fining him the first time did not void his guarantees. It only set the table for those guarantees to be voided if he continued to act out. And he acted like someone, pardon me, who could not control himself. He acted like someone who would repeatedly work against his own best interests. He acted like someone who was irrational, who was impulsive, who was someone you could not rely on. A plane ride does not change that. So the only way, if he does make it the whole season in New England, then the whole thing, the last week in Oakland was a long con. It was all, I want to leave. His agent has a great relationship with New England, maybe through somehow, I know you're not supposed to, through the little butterflies he heard, hey, man, just so you know, New England, who tried to trade a first-round pick for you when Pittsburgh was moving you, they'd still take you. And so he just kept upping the ante on getting released. He kept upping the ante on, I'll threaten to fight the coach, that won't work, or threaten to fight the GM, I will.
But even if that was true, Nick, anything that he was doing don't make sense him going to New England. Maybe somewhere else.
What do you mean?
Like, because he doesn't have the type of personality that would suit going to New England.
Unless he knew that New England was going to be waiting for him. Chris, I don't know how we can...
This is what I do know, Nick. We make phone calls around the league. In New England, there were a bunch of teams waiting for him.
Yes, and somehow this thing got done in 2 hours. Bunch of teams waiting for him. Bunch of teams that can offer him contracts. And
it don't take long to negotiate a contract.
But if you got
we'll give you $10 million guarantee. Will that move you to the front of the line?
Of course.
You got a Hall of Fame quarterback. Well, that'll keep you in the front of the line.
Right. Agreed, Chris. The point that I am making is very simple. What we have seen Antonio Brown do is irrational, erratic behavior that has hurt him financially, hurt him publicly, hurt him in every way possible. Unless it was all in pursuit of this. If it wasn't, if this is just a happy coincidence, then why will he change? then why will he all of a sudden?
Well, this is what. Well, I just know
change.
Belichick's influence. Belichick's influence makes people change. There's a guy out there named Steve Harvey. He writes this book, How to Get a Man, and said every woman, there's a man out there that would do everything right for that one woman. And Belichick is the coach. I would have loved to have played for him. I don't know how it would have gone, but I would have loved to think that I could have done it. And there are players in the league that, you know something? They'll straighten up for him because they respect him, and that happens as soon as they get the phone call or as soon as the transaction, or as soon as they talk to their friends and realize, hey, man, this is a different story here.
But 2 seconds after he agrees to go to the Patriots, he puts out an Instagram post, the Patriot Way, with the money. Just in that post alone leads me to believe I don't think he really is committed to change, or we're going to see a different Antonio Brown.
Okay, do you think he's on the roster at the end of the season?
I do.
You got a chance to say something.
I know, but I just don't.
You do or don't?
I somehow want to believe that he's going to actually make it work because he found a place.
Nick, at the end of the season, is he on the team?
No.
Nick doesn't think so.
I do not think so.
I think he is because I've seen the influence of Bill Belichick.
I think what the Patriots have going for them, and by the way, why, because I didn't answer the question, why I think this is a smart move for them is because they are maybe the only team in the league that if he starts to act like Antonio Brown, they will not let it metastasize. They will instantly cut ties. It will only be $9 million. They've got the cap space anyway because they don't have a single bad contract on the roster. It is no risk, and the reward is, of all the receivers in the league, maybe the one whose skill set fits the Patriots the best because he can play every position. He can play. Julio, maybe you'd say would be better. Fine. Okay, then second best. Whatever it is, the reward is the best receiver Brady has had since Randy Moss. The risk
New
is
England's been trying to get a good receiver for the last 3 years.
they were so desperate they spent a first-round pick on a wide receiver for the first time in 25 years. They keep holding on to Josh Gordon, so I get why they did it.
Of course.
I support the fact that they did it because there is no risk. And the idea of why didn't another team do it? Other teams don't have, I think, the stomach to the first time he acts out, cut him.
Well, you saw the Raiders couldn't.
Of course, like to use Chris' analogy, the Raiders also had a no-shoes policy. And Antonio said, I'm not taking them off. And they're like, okay, well, walk slightly.
Dinner would be served
please.
at 7. So.
Right, walk lightly. And then he stomped around in the mud and he's like, I'm coming back in. And they're like, all right, just don't tell Mom.
Right.
Like, and so but the Patriots won't do that. And I just don't think a guy who's scrolling bank balances during meetings.
Bad kids can see through it. Bad kids want discipline. All right? And they react to it when they do get it. Watch what's going to happen.
Okay. I don't think he makes it the year.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.